2. All right, good evening, everybody. It's Captain Shakir Robinson here for week 2 of Brunswick and Beyond. And first and foremost, I just wanted to say thank you, a huge thank you to everybody that's dialing in tonight and those that are going to watch the rerun via social media. We're in week 2 of Brunswick and Beyond. And the purpose of it, if you weren't able to dial in for week 1, was about 3 weeks ago, the first week of January, I was at Brunswick High, just visiting all the students in multiple classrooms and talking to different sports teams. And after talking to Ms. Hutchinson, the language arts teacher, we wanted to figure out a program and allow a platform for past graduates to be able to share insight into their profession, so that they can get a bigger perspective on what's out there beyond Brunswick. So whether that's in the arts, whether that's in the computer industry, whether it's in coaching, whatever it is, us graduates have walked the same halls at Brunswick High, so we can provide some valuable insight to the current students out there, whether you're in 9th grade all the way through 12th grade. So tonight, we're in for a big treat. I'm pretty excited for a couple of panelists that we already have dialed in, and I think we'll have one more dial in a little bit later. But I'll be remiss if I didn't introduce Mr. Omari Robinson. So if you can, just go ahead and list who you are, what you do, and then what year you graduated in, and then from there, we'll go through the other panelists as well.
All right, man. Yeah, I'm Omari Robinson. I graduated Brunswick High School in 2007. I feel kind of old on here now. I did graduate in 07, which is crazy. But yeah, I am the CEO of Live Life Headphones, so I own my own business. If you're not familiar with what I do, I host silent headphone parties for different colleges, universities, artists, anybody pretty much that wants to do a silent headphone event. That's pretty much what I do.
Okay, I appreciate it. And Chris, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, what year you graduated, and what your profession is?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Chris Anderson, former quarterback at Brunswick High School. I graduated in 2011. My profession is a college football coach. I coach at Tusculum University here in Greenville, Tennessee. I want to thank y'all for having me on, and now ready to get to it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. First is first. So Omari, you kind of talked about a little bit what you do as far as being your own CEO. And I don't think the audience knows, but you own your own business. So can you talk about that? How you own your own business and kind of like what goes into it? What are the benefits of owning your own business, being your own boss, and then maybe what are some of the challenges that also go into it that some of us may not know?
All right, yeah, I'll start off. Owning my own business, the real benefit of owning your own business is you're your own boss. You don't have to wake up in the morning and say, hey, man, I have to go to work. I don't have to work a traditional 9 to 5. I remember when I used to work at Verizon, you know, if something happened in the family or I needed to go back home or somebody got sick, you know, I wouldn't be able to make it. You know, I wouldn't be able to just go home, leave, get on the airplane and go back. I was staying in Dallas at the time when I was working at Verizon. And, you know, I missed a lot of family events. I'm real big family oriented. So being, you know, your own boss, that's one of the biggest benefits is having your time to be able to do whatever you want to do. If you want to go out at night, you don't have to worry about getting up in the morning and, you know, going and just being on the weekend, just having that flexibility of being able to do whatever you want is the biggest thing. One of the biggest challenges I say is owning your own business is being self-motivated. If you're not a self-motivated person and you can't wake up every morning and motivate yourself, owning your own business isn't going to be for you. I do, sometimes I know, like I'll wake up and I'll be like, man, I don't have nothing to do. When you don't have nothing to do and you're your own business owner, you got to find something to do. You got to find some ways to get new clients, to get new business, you know. So if you're not self-motivated, this is not the profession that you really want to get in. And I'm trying to think of another challenge that I have. Just staying motivated is probably one. And then, yeah, that's probably just the biggest one, is staying motivated. And then when I first started, it's probably the funds. A lot of people don't realize that it takes money to make money. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of people get scared to start their own business because of the funding. But I remember when I first started my business, I didn't have all the money I needed either. But what I did was I went to the bank and got a loan to pretty much get started with my business and get the equipment and stuff that I needed to start mine. So when I got that loan, that really helped me to, get to where I'm at today. I was able to pay that off in a year. So I would just say anybody that's trying to start their own business, if you don't have the funds, don't use that as an excuse to not want to start your own business, because there's ways you can get funds, you can get money from family members, loans from banks. So that would be just one of the biggest things. Just whenever you do want to start something, just make sure you execute. And there's always ways to get the money to start the business or whatever you want to do.
No, I think that's great. And to add on to kind of like your story, I know you graduated from Georgia Southern, and then also our other panelist, Chris Anderson, played 4 years of football at Brunswick High, and then went off to play college football at Valdosta State. And then can you talk about like what caused you and what motivated you to become a college football coach, and as well as what was that college experience like, and how did it prepare you for life?
I would say what motivated me to become a college football coach was just as you progress in a collegiate level of football, you have to, a lot of people rely on their talents to get them where they're at, but it's going to be a point in time where you have to outsmart the opponent that's across from you. So just being a student of the game it made me dive into, thinking on a different surface than what my teammates were thinking or what the player across from me was thinking. So I kind of got interested into that perspective of it. But as I did begin to break down the film and understand what the defense is doing, it actually slowed the game down for me. So it allowed me to play at a faster rate, which in terms my teammates, I was coaching them as well, getting them lined up. I was just being the coach on the field, not, not knowing it when I was actually playing versus when I stopped playing. Guys would say, yeah, I can see CA now being the coach just because how he, direct things. And, I go back to when I was at Brunswick High. Coach Floyd used to always tell me to be a leader, so to speak, but I always like rubbed it off like, nah, coach, that ain't me. That ain't who I am. But I kind of gradually grew into it. And I'll say, I'm actually a leader now where I lead my own position group. I lead my guys to battle. It kind of go hand in hand with the military. I'm that guy leading my troops to war. We got to come out with a victory. So that's how I take that approach, and that's how I came across coaching. But I will give an interesting story. I actually, when I was at Valdosta State, we used to do a team camp in North Alabama where we'll go coach middle school, high school, and we coached some of the top athletes in Alabama at the time, and I just fell in love with that process of coaching guys, giving them my insight on how I approach football and how to better their game and how they should approach it. And we did it for like 3 years, and over the years, like when we did middle school, I can see those eighth graders now juniors on the third year of us doing it, and I can really see the progress from their eighth grade year to their junior year. And I just fell in love with that success of those guys just being successful and actually applying the tools that we were coaching them to do. And I just fell in love with that process ever since then. And I just always wanted to find a way to give back all the knowledge that I've obtained over the years to give back to the guys so they can have it. And when they do take that next step in their life or be able to play on that second level, that they can understand and grasp what I'm trying to get across to them.
Yeah, no, I like that. I picked out one of those good points right in the middle. You said that you went off by Valdosta State, and then you were able to go to Alabama a few times. So a couple states away from Georgia. And then I know, Omar, you work up in Atlanta, and through your small business, you had the opportunity to travel all up the eastern shoreboard. Can you talk a little bit about that? The different states you've been able to go to, and the people you've been able to interact, and how's that relationship been like with these new people, these new colleges, and being able to communicate with them?
Yeah, so with the opportunity that I got with the headphones, we've done a lot of different schools, man. So I've been able to meet a lot of great people. We've been all the way to DC. We went to we did Bowie State University. We went to Jackson State University. I've been to events. We did events in Detroit a couple of times, Florida, Bethune-Cookman. We did University of Georgia, Savannah State. We did a lot of different events all up the coast. So it's been a real cool experience. Sometimes I actually tell my brother I feel like a truck driver sometimes, all the different schools we've been going to. But with COVID, you know, a lot of stuff's been dying down. So I've been trying to I had to come up with different formulas and stuff, you know, to try to keep the headphones going. So it's been a transition, but we've been making everything work.
Awesome. What would you say, Chris? I think I got a couple questions here from the guys at Brunswick High. What's one of the biggest perks of being able to be a coach on the collegiate level?
I wouldn't necessarily call it perks, but it just depends, man. It really depends, because you can go to a high school that's ran like a college. Like, for instance, the powerhouses, Grayson, Tifton, Valdosta, Moultrie, Colquitt County. All those schools are ran like a college. Like, so if you're in that high school setting that's ran like a college, and you come from a dominant powerhouse college like Valdosta State, the Georgia Southerns, the University of Georgia, the Miamis, the Floridas, you will feel like you're in place. But a perk as a college coach, I'll just say just the organization. And I know knocks on the kids, but you don't have to deal with kids from 9 to 3 or 8 to 3 all day, every day. So I feel like you have your ups and downs as well, you know, as far as like dealing with kids, make sure they're accountable, doing the right things, going to class. I mean, you still do those things, but it's not too, you know, like at a severe extent, like you're in high school, where you got to make sure you're taking roll, you're teaching a class, you're doing attendance and all that. So I just feel like that's one of the perks of being a college coach, is just, you know, make sure you're in the right system or under the right leadership, because that's the key thing, because you want to grow as a coach. So making sure that you're under the right leadership is very critical.
Okay, no, I get it. You kind of mentioned you listed off a myriad of colleges, and Omar, I know you graduated from Georgia Southern. If there's one thing that you learned, the biggest takeaway from being a college student in your 4 to 5 years at Georgia Southern, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from being a college student?
Yeah, that's a good question. My biggest takeaway is networking. Just being able to, like, when I've got a lot of business with my business from people that I met in college. One of my line brothers, he booked me at University of Georgia. An alpha I know that went to Bethune-Cookman, he booked me for that school and the school that he was at. So just networking is probably going to be the biggest thing. And then another thing is, if you want to be successful, you need to get around people that are also successful. So a lot of my friends, all of my friends, they're all successful. They're all getting money. They're all doing things in their different professions, and we put each other on, you know. So if my friend has an opportunity where he's making money doing something new that I don't know about, he lets me know. And I feel like just being around people that are doing positive things, that's going to be the biggest thing. Because I have a lot of friends in high school, you know, that I talk to. I say, yeah, you know, we're associates and stuff like that. But like, as you grow as a person and you realize, like, when you get older, your values change and a lot of things change. So I like to be around people that's making money, and they're going to help me and, you know, guide me to want to get money as well.
No, great answer. I think one of the key points that you hit on, you talk about the network. And speaking of that network, you know, as Chris Anderson was a quarterback back in the day at Brunswick High, a couple of those balls that he threw was to receiver Rick Short, who just dialed in on the line after work. So, Rick Short, good evening, man. It's great to have you here.
You gotta unmute yourself, Rick. Down at the bottom.
I'm good, fellas. How y'all doing? Nice to be here.
No, we appreciate it. We know you just got off work, so I appreciate you being able to dial in. If you can, we got an audience that's online right now, and some guys that are going to watch the rerun on Facebook and other social media platforms. But for those that don't know, can you just share the year that you graduated and then your profession, what you do on the day-to-day?
Well, I graduated in the year 2011, and right now I'm a UPS driver, which is, you know, a union worker, but it's a great career.
Awesome. So yeah, I got a couple questions from the students right now. That you mentioned the word union, and not too many people know what the advantages are of being in a union. Can you kind of explain a little bit, like, what does union provide? What's your normal day-to-day schedule, and then what do you get out of being a part of a union?
Okay, well, a day-to-day schedule, it varies. You know, normally the start times are the same for everyone. We normally start around about 9:15, And what time you get off, that just depends on how fast you produce that day, you know. And the good thing about a union is it's almost like a safety net. It's someone that speaks for you, someone that protects you. So as far as your wages, they fight for our wages, make sure that they're competitive, make sure that they keep up with inflation. We don't ever have to worry about just simply being stuck at one place. Inflation goes up year to year, and our wages increase year to year. They make sure we have great benefits. They make sure we have, that we're not being abused as far as our workloads. A lot of jobs don't have a thing where it's called penalty pay, and the union makes sure that we have penalty pay. So when the jobs take advantage of us, they step in to say, hey, this is too much for one individual. If you're going to continue to do this, you're going to pay this extra money to them. And, nobody wants to give out extra money. So at that point, the company normally, they dial it down a little bit, so you can have an honest day of work for an honest pay. And that's the best way that we describe it.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I think your buddy being Chris Anderson, kind of rewinding, going back in history. Chris, what would you say to your high school self? A tip or a piece of advice that you would give. Chris Anderson walking the halls of Brunswick High when it was on Habersham Street. Knowing what you know now, what would be one piece of advice that you would give your former self?
I'll say take the little things seriously. I took a lot of stuff for granted when I was at Brunswick High, whether it was on the field or off the field, in the classroom. Like I said, just take the little things seriously, and it'll help you later on in life.
Okay, no, I like that. I'll transition that question to Amari. I know you got a lot of experience as well. Looking back on your time at Brunswick High, what would be one piece of advice that you give your former self, knowing what you know now?
I guess just cherishing the time that you have where you don't have no responsibilities. I mean, as you get older, you realize, man, life isn't as simple, and it ain't as simple as you think. When you're in high school, you don't have to pay no bills. You're living with your parents. So just take the time to really enjoy life, enjoy the people that's around. I feel like I did that, but I probably felt like I could have probably did that a little bit more. With playing football and stuff like that, you get out of football practice, you tired. You don't feel like doing a lot of stuff after football practice. So just, enjoying that, and then on the weekends, just enjoying yourself, man. Enjoying yourself. That's what I would say.
No, that's good. I think we keep on going back to the high school sports. Rick, I know you played football, and can you talk about there being a life after football? I know you have a family as well that you support. Multiple children. So can you talk about that transition from when you had to hang up the cleats and now you're a father and supporting your family, and what that life is like?
I could say the biggest transition was my time management. I have 3 kids. I have a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and I have a 2-year-old. So I have to be in various places on a day-to-day, and sometimes it's not hard. My son had a basketball game today, and that's kind of also what helped me up. But I would say with hanging those cleats up, that was kind of like my outlet in life, to where nothing really mattered at that time. It was just all football. And once I hung the cleats up, I had to find a different avenue to ease my mind, to relax, and to just enjoy myself. And I got right off the football field, right into the workforce. And it became a tough transition early on, but now, I have adjusted, and it's something that I enjoy. I have a great career, and that time management between work, family, and self becomes critical, because a lot of days there's no time for self. It's work, kids, bed, do it over again, and it becomes a kind of strenuous as far as physical and mental, but it's something that I've adjusted to, and this life, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I got to see your kids on social media a little bit, and I know you're doing a great job having them involved in the community. And so I think what'll be, I'll open the floor for questions in just a moment. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw your name in the chat box, and then from there we'll go from top to bottom. If you have any questions, but I want to do the next question back to Chris, Coach Anderson. What would you say? A lot of these high schools that are listening and tune in tonight, a lot of them are thinking about going to college. So what would you say to the high schooler that's considering going to college? And what was one of the greatest things? If there's one takeaway that you took away from being a college student that you learned that you still use today, what was one of the greatest benefits of your time in college?
First and foremost, just picking the right college that you can call home for the next 4 years or the next 10 years of your life. That's the most important thing, because a lot of kids, they go off to college and they come back just because they're homesick, or they feel like that's not the proper place for them, or they're steady transferring colleges here and there. So I just felt like if you just stay put at one spot and grow in that specific area, you'll be fine. One thing I'll say as far as take away from college, just being accountable, and like Rick said, just time management, man. Because when you're just a regular student athlete, you have a lot of time on your hands. I mean, not a student athlete, but just regular student, you have a ton of time on your hands, and just making sure that you take the time to prioritize what you need, like class, food, studying. Uh, if you have a job that you want to do to get extra money in your pocket, just prioritizing the proper way is the key thing when you're just a regular student. But as far as a student athlete, just being accountable, man, and not letting your brothers down when you're on the field or wherever it is that you're going to college for, sport wise. But the accountability is key. That's the most important thing I'll say that I took away from college.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I know you're up in Tennessee right now, and then Rick is in the Brunswick area, and then Omari, I know you're up in Atlanta, which is the largest city in the southeast with the airport there and everything. Can you can you share a little bit about what's life like? Growing up for 18 years of your life in Brunswick, Georgia, then transitioning up to a big city. What's life like in the big city in our capital back in Atlanta?
I would say life is great, man. I feel like being from Brunswick and not really, like when I was in high school, we didn't really have too much to do besides, go to the games, play sports, and do stuff like that. It wasn't really a lot of clubs and a lot of nightlife really going on. So like, when you move to Atlanta, there's everything. There's aquariums, Coca-Cola factory, nightlife is real prevalent out here. So it's just a lot to do. I was going to answer the question too about you said about the, what's good about, going to college. I would say like a lot of people on this call, the one thing that I learned about being in college was just the perseverance to be able to go through everything in life and just find a way. So like, for example, like if something like in college, you might have you might have 2 tests one day, you might have to go to practice, you might have a meeting. It's like you might have 5, 6 different tasks that you have to complete that day. And I feel like that really has helped me in the real world and being in life with owning my business, because sometimes I'll have meetings. I have a meeting, at 12, then I might have another meeting at 3, then I might have to promote for an event that I have coming up. So just going to college and learning how to do multitask and doing multiple things at the same time is really where I feel like I benefited from going to college.
No, that's great. I think that's really insightful. I think one of the things you hit on is that term, just being resilient, being able to overcome those obstacles on the day-to-day. And one of the guys on the call, specifically one of the panelists that kind of embody that word of resilient is Rick Short. He wasn't one of the biggest guys on the football field, but you talk about a guy with great heart and passion. You see him right here on the call. So, Rick, can you talk about how that resiliency that you learned at Brunswick High kind of helped you in your day-to-day life, whether that's being a parent or being on the job, to continue to be great and be able to provide?
Oh man, listen, that resiliency it's gonna be needed because, not only did I go into the service, I went into the reserves right after high school, you know, I also went to college. Now I'm in my career. And when I tell you that being resilient will take you a long way, that, a lot of people, I see them fold day in and day out. We had guys, they dropped out of basic training. I had guys that dropped out of college. I have guys that have walked off this job just like, hey, I can't do it no more. But at the end of the day, everything that I've done has paid off for me in the long run. And, Coach Floyd would always say, those that quit on us now will quit on us in life. And I see it as a true statement, because if you can't handle the fun, the easy aspects of life, and that's what sports is. It's fun and it's easy, at least on the high school level and below. And me and my friends, the guys that's on the calls, we all took it with a grain of salt and we just kept going. And as I look back now and look to the future, I see that we're all successful. I see that we're all doing great things, and we never had a problem with, the extra up downs, the extra sprints. We might have complained, but it was never to the point that we gave up. We always went through with it. And again, it has paid off big time for each and every one of us. We all have great careers. We're all doing good in life.
Yeah, no, so I think that's a testament, one, to great coaching of Coach Floyd and his staff. But also there's a reality of it. The three panelists that are on the phone right now, they all played high school football, and then now they're no longer playing professional football. And so Coach Anderson, he kind of explained, what advice would you give these high school students as far as the importance of education, knowing that one day you got to hang up the cleats, that not everybody's going to be the Justin Coleman, the Darius Slade, the DJ Dallas, or the Tracy Walker. So what is education important, and if so, why is education important from your perspective?
I'll say this, and this can this can be the foundation. Have a plan. That's the most important thing, is having a plan, because like you said, it's going to be a time when football is going to end. So education is very critical. I can give my own testimony. I went into college, and I had I had the mindset to be a health and physical education teacher, because I wanted to, do something with sports when I was done with football. So I already had that plan B in my head. But I got to college, I kind of slipped. I didn't get the health and physical education like I wanted to. I didn't get that degree. I ended up going to another degree, psychology. And I felt like during that time, it kind of showed me that that is harder to get where you want to get at versus going ahead and taking care of business when you already have it in front of you. Because when you come to college, you start off with a 0.0 GPA, and it's up to you to keep it at a 3.5, a 3.0, a 2.5, below a 2.0. It's on you. So I mean, you come into college with a fresh slate. So education is very critical, man, because like you said, at any time, at any place, it can be a season-ending injury. Now, what you gonna do? You had plans of going to the NFL or CFL or whatever professional league you was going to, but you weren't taking the classwork seriously. So I feel like education is very critical. Is needed to be preached, because like you said, everybody can't be a Justin Coleman, Tracy Coleman, Darius Slade, DJ Dallas. So you got to find your whatever you can wake up and not complain about. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you can do that you love, like, man, I'm excited to go to work, or excited to do this trade, or whatever it may be. So whether it's trade school or 4-year college, just take the education serious, and whatever skill they're trying to teach you.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I'm not quite too sure who Tracy Coleman is, but I'll try to look him up on Facebook. Maybe I'll be able to find it. But Omari, if anybody else has any questions, go ahead and log in the chat group. If not, I'll ask the final round of question right here for each one of the panelists. I'll give you the opportunity to answer. Like I said, if you have any more questions, please put them in the chat at this time. But if not, I'll go ahead and finish her off. So I'm looking at my list. Omar, if you had one last. Oh, man, it's a great day. I love it, man. I love being from Brunswick. It's just awesome. So, Omar, if you have one last piece of information that you would like to give to a high school senior at Brunswick High, that, hey, this one piece of nugget will add to your success, from your 12th grade year on, what would that piece of advice give? Just one little nugget.
Advice. So my whole brand is live life, man. That's what I really believe in. So I believe in finding something that you like to do and just going 100% all in with whatever it is. If you want to be a plumber, be the best plumber that you can be. If you want to be a trash can man, be the best trash can man you could be. Whatever you do, just put 100% into it. If you put 100% into it, you really can't lose. When you invest in yourself, to me, I honestly feel like whatever I do, I know I can't lose because I'm gonna put 100% into it. I'm not gonna lose. So I feel like if you believe in yourself and know that, you know, I could do this or I want to try something new, just believe in yourself. You're gonna achieve.
No, I like that. Thanks. I think that's a good send off. I appreciate it. And then Rick Short, if you can, you got one last piece of information for everybody in the crowd, everybody that's tuning in from across America. What would you tell these high school students?
Make sound decisions. You know, don't rush into anything. Don't feel like you on a clock where you just have to make the best decision at that moment, because that's not going to be the case. Sometimes you're going to have to hit the reset button. You're going to have to start over, and that's okay. You know, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I went to the service, I went to college, and now here I am, a UPS driver, and I've been here for 8 years, you know, as far as working under UPS's umbrella, and I've been full-time for 4. And I can honestly say of the 3 things that I've done, being a UPS driver has provided me the best life. And, you know, I wouldn't trade it, you know, with anything. And, you know, hoorah, simplify for you too, Shaq.
Yeah, Semper Fi, still doing the day-to-day right here in the Marine Corps in sunny San Diego. I can't complain at all. About 3,000 miles from South Georgia, but I'm loving it. Still on the coast. And then Coach Anderson, if you can, share one last piece of information for us in the crowd. Just any kind of encouragement that you would have for these high schoolers that are dialed in today.
After high school, man, is life. Life is real. But also remember, have a plan in the face of adversity, man. Never give up, man. Never give up, because it's gonna be light on the other side of that adversity, man. It's gonna be a clear image on the other side. So keep persevering and don't give up.
Hey, now, Coach, I appreciate that. And again, Omari Robinson tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia, his own CEO of his small business up in Atlanta. I appreciate you dialing in. Rick Short, just dialing in after he got off work, a UPS driver / union worker, doing great things right there in the local community. And then Coach Anderson, 2011 graduate of Brunswick High, college football coach up in Tennessee with his family as well. So I appreciate all the panelists dial in. And that concludes week 2. I asked everybody to tune in for week 3. It's going to be a service member theme. So as Rick Short, you know, he said that he spent some time in the service. We're going to bring in panelists from all services, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, and the Marines as well, just to provide insight on what is it like to be an airman or a sailor or a soldier or a Marine. What's the day-to-day like? How much will you get paid? What's it like to travel the world and go to all these places? And so tune in for week 3 of Brunswick and Beyond. And then once again, you guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me and the rest of the Brunswick cast. So I appreciate it. God is love, and y'all enjoy your night. And I look forward to seeing you at week 3 for Brunswick and Beyond, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
One last thing, Shaq, you can't stop recording. You can hear me?
Can hear you.
Everybody that's listening, please do not go research Tracy Coleman. No.
All right, I'm done recording now.